What's up, guys? We're here finally for the episode reviews of Invincible. I'm even donning the Viltrumite lineage facial hair, so we got that going on. This is really exciting because for those new here, we are comic readers. This was one of my favorite series. I introduced it to Michael a couple years ago when we first talked about it on the channel, and this is one that I've been keeping my eye on, and we're finally here. It's released from Amazon, so if you want to go check out the season, the first 3 episodes are up. We're going to do this video talking about just the first episode. We'll probably have another video talking about episodes 2 and 3, and then we'll probably, cover the next episodes as they come out because the episode 4 and on are going to release at different times. But with that being said, Michael, what did you think of the first episode?
It was pretty interesting. You have a 40-minute episode, which is pretty unique as far as comic animated adaptations go.
Yeah.
And it started with the introduction of characters. I think it was an interesting transition. You started out with the fight scene that was less brutal. And that does get contrasted towards the end, but we'll talk about that later. Mm-hmm. I like the introduction of the new costume of our main character. We have good family interactions, several good scenes, and I think it flowed pretty well, just getting right into the action.
Yeah, there's, I guess maybe I should preface this with, if you are not a comic reader, we'll try to keep as spoiler-free as possible from like major things in the comic, because I know a lot of people probably didn't know this was a comic or don't know anything from the comic part of it. With that being said, this is a superhero show, so you do have kind of the traditional opener type deal. The actually opening of the show is a lot different, not a lot, but there is an extra scene in there that we don't get in the comic, which I think actually benefited it a little bit, because you do kind of see that the main group of heroes that protect the Earth, the Guardians of the Globe, are they actually are good at their job, whereas you don't really get that sort of information, I guess, in the comic before things happen. But I don't know, there was some definite changes for sure. Like they're very minor. I think one of the things that kind of intrigued me the most was sort of the slight change in how Mark acts, but I think because of the way that, maybe he's a little bit more, I don't want to say confrontational with Nolan, his father, just maybe that you can really tell how passionate he is about being a hero and wanting to be like his father, that obviously he's frustrated a bit at his dad, that, he feels like he can't necessarily perform the job maybe as well as his dad. So I think because of taking more of that approach, having more of sort of like a rocky start, whereas in the comic it was like, hey, he's like not necessarily good at it yet or like the best, but like because he's like so powerful that it comes to it very naturally. That seeing this kind of contrasted a bit in the show, I think actually came with some maybe more intricate scenes between them. Yeah,
this is definitely a show you want to stay till the very end. There is 2 important scenes. We get kind of an introduction to the Guardians of the Globe, what they do in their personal time.
Oh, yeah.
And then there is, so if you are a fan of The Boys, I just want to make this comparison because I think it's interesting. If you're a fan of The Boys, you know the iconic scene of the first episode where someone gets flashed into and exploded.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this series also, in the comics as well, you have violence in the first few issues. Mm-hmm. And this series does that as well. I think there's a moment where a conflict between a fast character and a strong character, I guess I'll say that. And it can be shocking. You didn't know that's where it was going to go, so...
because I think where The Boys, one of the differences is like The Boys is very up in front with how it starts of it doesn't really take much time for you to really get like the essence of the show, whereas Invincible, one of the things I think was probably like the most shocking and like instantly led to intrigue was just how there is kind of this slow introduction / like a little bit of a build up before you actually get to maybe some revelations of what this show or series might be. And I do love how just in the matter of the first episode we get to that. And like Michael said, you definitely want to wait till the end because there is some cool things. There's a couple of things that I think I did like. I guess I won't spoil anything, but there is a fight towards the later part of the episode where it is a little bit more dragged out than it is in the comic. And I think it was animated really well. Like, it's a really dope fight. I do wonder what that, like, when you're looking back of it, when we get some more information about the characters in the world and kind of power levels of people, how that will necessarily, you know, kind of come in line with, like, reasoning or just, like, logically thinking, like, wait, why? But, I mean, I don't know. Like, I love that fight so much, I kind of want it to be in there from now on.
Yeah, so. A canon fight. But yeah, no, so far we have very promising show of animating fights, so we'll see how that goes. We got some interesting fights with our main character too. He in his first couple fights as a hero, we got him making some mistakes, but also also doing pretty awesome stuff. And we have some recurring villains that we'll see in the future, so that's going to be exciting. There's a lot of recurring characters in this show, so it's
really weird how like the Muller twins, because like the Muller twins are in this first episode, which they are like one of the first like villains I guess is introduced into the series, and it's just kind of weird to me that like I don't know, in the comics it always seemed like they were like a smaller scale, because you have like Mark and like another team of superheroes that's smaller scale that we'll probably see in the second episode. That was kind of like their first villain, and because like the Muller twins are kind of set up at like, I guess, a threat or in a level that like the Guardians of the Globe had to take care of them. I'm curious if they're going to keep them as like the introduction, or if they're going to remix that a little bit. I think probably the biggest thing for me about this first episode was I really did want to see if like Amazon was going to make a one-to-one adaptation, or if they were going to kind of remix it similar to one of other Robert Kirkman's properties that got a TV show adaptation, which is The Walking Dead. And I think right now it's looking like it's a mix of two of those things. It looks like they're keeping pretty faithful, but there is obviously some things they're changing for it to, I guess, have a better transitions for a TV show. Bless you.
Almost died.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, you know, that I think showed really good promise. What did you think of the animation though? Because I did think it's good, but I don't know if it's just that like the art, like for the main part of the comic series, is just so god tier that like it's really hard to capture some of the details that are shown in the graphic novel, or if it's if there was something that maybe you caught like animation wise that maybe let it not being as good. But I was just curious what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is high quality animation. There are some, and it's been a while since I've read it, so I haven't looked at, you know, the art for a while, but there was some things. There are some like facial animations that were, I mean, they're good, they're not bad, but they were like kind of, I think they may have given up too much. We talked about that one during the episode. But I'm curious for new viewers, I want two questions in the comments for you to answer if this is your first time watching the show. First, did you see the twist coming, or did you see signs of evilness in a character? And then second of all, how did you like that last scene?
Yeah, because those are...
What do you think about for the future of the show?
Yeah, because I think those are ones that... It's kind of hard to tell when you have prior knowledge of like a series if like some things that are meant to be like a reveal are too obvious when you're watching it, or if it's just because like you have that previous knowledge, if that's what's leading it to feel like that. But I am curious to see what new viewers thought of that. There is some like... I'm only going to mention this. It's not a big deal, and like... Just because I'm bringing it up, don't think that much about it. But like, I just thought it was weird because like you get a scene, actually several scenes with Mark in his school, and obviously there's a couple of things that are changed a little bit because of like, you know, the origin of his name, or like where he gets his name is in the school setting. So I'm curious if they're going to keep that the same, or if they're going to have that something different. But in one of the scenes that we get at his school, you get introduced to his friend William, which is like his best friend. And in the book, I always thought it was great because William, if you've seen the episode, or if not, don't worry about it because it's pretty obvious in there. But his friend is gay, and in the book, I always thought it was really funny because at the beginning part of the book, he's closeted, and so like some of the things he says, like it sounds really like goofy or just weird, but it's, you know, it's just like, you know, it's like showing signs for that, and that ends up playing a part later on when, like, you know, things revealed. But I just thought it was a weird choice having it out in the open now, because I was like, now we're not going to see that funny scene, because like there's one funny scene that when Mark first gets his powers, or like when William first like learns of certain things, that I just like, I don't know if that'll translate as the same way, but I don't know. It's not a big deal. I just thought that was interesting that they changed that.
So we did ask a question for the old viewers, for the new viewers. So I want to ask a question for the old ones. So if you do know the comic, don't post spoilers, but give us type the name of the character you want to see. So one character that you want to see in the show. Obviously, it's going to be in the future. Which character are you most excited for? I think that's a good question.
In this season, or just in general?
In general. So we can probably make a statement on that later on. We're going to do episode by episode, but that's just one way I wanted to close this, since this was episode 1. What character are you most excited to see in the near future?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. We'll go ahead and close this down. Just real quick, I wanted to say there is going to be 8 episodes to this first season. It looks like you can watch the first 3 episodes right now on Amazon if you're a Prime member. If you're not, I don't know if you have to pay for them individually or how that works, but if you have the subscription, it's already free in that. The other thing is that the 4th episode is set to release, I think it's at April 4th. So, a little bit of a break, but we'll be back for those and hopefully have them as they come out. So with that being said, Addicts, we'll see you for episode 2 and 3, and we'll just get out of here. Peace, Addicts.
Later.